What's up, Solitary Happiness? How are you? Hey, Quan, I'm your biggest fan from London. Oh, really? I didn't know you lived in London. I didn't know you lived in England. That's how black people here in America say England. England. Thank G. You rescued me from the BS on the app today. Yeah, I logged in. And I was just telling my wife how there's so much bullshit on TikTok now. Hold on for a second, guys. I was just telling her how so much bullshit. I was like, oh my God. It's like so garbage now. And everybody is just recycling the same takes. Getting offended by the same shit. Like, this is how you know most people are living relatively monotonous, mundane lives, and they don't have anything else to talk about, and they can't help but to conjure up controversy in order to go viral. Like, are you talking about Slim Kim? Is that the lady who made the song? Oh, not made the song, but she was talking about how she loves being skinny and she doesn't want to be fat. But and everybody is getting offended. All the fat people are getting offended. Talking about you can't make skinny being your personality trait. I'm like, shut your fat ass up. I don't know why fat people be getting on this app complaining about skinny bitches. Like, listen, at the end of the day, you know your ass want to be skinny. I want to be skinny. You want to be skinny. So shut your big ass up. Stop eating. Stop eating. Go to the gym. And take your ass to work. That's it. But all this complaining about skinny people and the things they're saying, I'm like, man, right, it's the same shit every 2 months. They always get on here complaining. Like, look, I get it. You love hot wings. You love chicken sandwiches. You love donuts. You love to eat. I get it. But stop complaining when other people are like, you're big and nasty. Is it crude and disrespectful? Yeah, I think so. But welcome to the world. Welcome to reality. Human beings, most of them are pieces of shit. I'm telling you. So the best thing you could do is stop complaining about it and just lose that gut. Get rid of them back titties. Do them squats. Do that 45 minutes to an hour of cardio. Shit, what do you think I'm finna do once I get done with this walk? I'm finna eat a light meal. And then I'm finna take my ass on the Peloton. Get on the Peloton. I'ma shut the fuck up. I'ma shut the fuck up. And get my big, fat, nasty ass on that Peloton. To get this fat up off me. But people getting on here, they be complaining. It's rooted in fat phobia. And then here's my thing. The thing that be blowing me when people be saying this, it's like, you act like being fat is something that you're like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to make something very clear. Losing weight is not, I'm 5'10". Losing weight is not easy. And it's not going to be easy because if you've made it a habit to eat out all the time and you're eating like a lot of junk food and fast food, you're going to get addicted to it. It's just, it is what it is. There's no other reason, but people want to come up with a long laundry list of all the reasons why. It's because of I have responsibilities and I have to take care of my family. And man, listen, your ass is still actively making a choice to go out and eat McDonald's and get 800 and 900 calorie burgers, 600 calories worth of French fries, 800 calorie dulce de leche frappes and shit. You want to get 2 apple pies because it's 2 for 1, along with a damn motherfucking 6-piece chicken McNugget because you want to sit up there and tell yourself, oh, well, I may not eat my whole burger, and I do kind of want to have some nuggets. Like, give me a fucking break. On my way to Chili's right now, exactly. Get in touch. Want to go get some cheese sticks and whatnot. Big ass patty cheese sticks dipped in motherfucking, I don't know, whatever that sauce is. And talking about, oh, I want the cheese pull. No, but then they be saying shit like, well, today is my cheat day. Don't need no motherfucking cheat day, ho. But you know what I'm finna do? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna disappear for a while. When I come back and I look completely different, I'm gonna talk so much shit. I'm gonna talk so much shit. They gonna have to kick me off this app. They gonna have to kick me off this app. I'm gonna talk so much, and let me tell you, even if I were to come back and change and look completely different, you still gonna have so many nasty, fat, sloppy, mediocre people just be so loud and obnoxious about it. Like, well, that's good for you. You gotta let people do it on their terms. You gotta let people you gotta let people figure it out on their own. You don't have to be nasty about it. It's your energy. I don't like the way you said that. It's the way you they always gonna complain. That's when I realized you gotta separate yourself from the losers. Like I told you all last night, most people are fucking losers. Most people are losers. The fact that you even get on this app and complain, that to me, that you're a loser. Losers complain. If we're going to be quite honest, losers complain. That's all losers do. They complain. They complain. Losers complain. They procrastinate. They make excuses. They externalize blame onto others. They make things more difficult than what they need to be because that's their way of rationalizing not doing something. Losers. Like even last night when we had this conversation about race and racism, and I had so many black people on my live just, y'all can't help it but to always blame white people for any and everything that's going wrong in your life. That is a loser mindset. I hope you realize that. Like, it's one thing to acknowledge historical injustices and inequities, right? But let's get honest. A lot of people make bad decisions, and now all of a sudden you gotta have somebody to blame. And it's usually the white man. Well, see, it wouldn't be this way if, my mom, or my dad, and my family, and it's the white man, and the white, white people, and white people, and Always looking for fucking crest strips. Work amazing. You should try it. Actually, you know what you should try? You should try putting a big, fat, let me stop. But anyways, I'm telling you, most people are losers. Most people are losers. Even this person right here coming into the chat trying to give people recommendations. Loser. Loser. Most people who use social media, if we're going to be quite honest, and I'm going to be the bearer of bad news when I say this, but y'all are losers even being on TikTok. If we're going to be quite honest. I was just telling my friend this. Social media is for losers. I really do think it is. Because you know what I realize? Rather than you take the time and discipline and have the due diligence to go out and find books, get the research, and we'll find the necessary academic research and really delve into really thought out, like well-researched books. You just want snippets. You want everything in a motherfucker. You want everything to be in a 20-second video. Oh, it's great for business. It's great for business. Don't get me wrong. It's great for business. But social media is for losers. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I really do. It's for losers. Social media is for losers. It really is. All of it. Facebook, YouTube. And here you are. But here you are listening to me, though. And I'm trying to tell you, it's for losers. Like, I'm getting paid. You're not. But it's not going to stop. Because even if I say it's for losers, you're going to delete the app. Give it 2-3 days. You're going to reinstall the app on your phone. And you'll go back to scrolling and just waste 2-3 hours a day. Procrastinating, wasting life. Even if it's used in moderation or at all. I mean, maybe at the most, an hour a day. But if you go and you look at your phone app and you see that you have spent a combination of 4 or 5 hours between Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these different platforms, if you are spending more than 2 hours of your day consuming any type of content outside of books, you're losing. You are losing. Social media was made by Ivy Leaguers, though. Yeah, it was made by Ivy Leaguers in order to create a profitable, addictive platform in order to maximize ad revenue and make hundreds of billions of dollars a year off of losers consuming content. At the end of the, I'm going to write a journal. I'm going to make a journal. This is something I'm going to be working on pretty soon. I'll launch it next year. But I'm going to call it Winning the Day. And it's going to be a grade book where, see, I told people they losers and people started dropping off because they realize it's true. Because now we only got 67 people on the chat. People don't want to hear it, though. But that's fine. But anyways, make a long story short, maybe I shouldn't stop. Maybe I shouldn't be too transparent and too honest and tell people that social media is for losers, because then you won't listen to me and then I won't make money. So in a way, I need losers to make me rich. But even admitting this information to everybody pretty much means that I'm losing. You got to feed their egos. Exactly. But what I was going to say is that if every day you don't hit your goals, I think this is a really good radical approach to self-development. I'm telling you, something I've also figured out, to be honest with you, like the constant, incessant chatter in your mind that creates like that level of friction that ends up slowing down your day. You know what I'm talking about. Like you constantly have that inner voice or that monologue in your head that's constantly racked with fear, doubt, or you feel fatigued or you feel mentally exhausted. That is the enemy. That inner voice, that monologue, I realize is the enemy. And so the best way to combat that is you come up with a solid list of non-negotiable priorities. And you got to hit that list day in and day out. You got to be on your feet, taking action day in and day out, right? And what happens is you leave your brain no time to ruminate, because that inner monologue, it is a voice of rumination, of worry, of doubt, right? And it's very subtle. It's not like overt. Because if it was overt, then, you just, that's not how it works. It's a very subtle voice that's playing in the Quan. Have you read Outwitting the Devil? Is exactly what you're saying. No, I have not read that book. Really, that's what's in there? Everybody keeps talking about that. So I need to go ahead and take the time to read that. But I'm telling you, that inner monologue, that voice, it is a very soft and suggestive monologue that is literally enslaving you to mediocrity and keeping you locked in place to where you're not taking daily, decisive, relentless actions towards your goals. And so if you got to then figure out a way to kill off that voice, right? And I think the best way to do that, honestly, is to get very robotic about your daily actions, right? And be on your feet, going to war against inaction. Anytime you're not moving, you're stagnant. So it's keeping yourself busy with actions, tasks, activity that is in alignment with your larger purpose or vision, right? So what you have to do is always be on your feet. Even when you feel tired, right? Like last night, I was tired. I was like, man, I was in my car almost ready to go to sleep. And I was like, snap out of it, get up, go inside that gym and get to work. Get on that elliptical. I'm telling you, every day is war. It's war. It's an ongoing war. And you got to wage it. You got to wage it against not just, and let me tell you something else too. One of the reasons, I want to make a video about this actually. I'm going to make a video about this. Last night I came across a video. One out of 1,000 videos that I scrolled by. And this was actually a very good video. Now, this guy is kind of controversial because he's been accused of kind of being a hack and a con artist. But his name is Gary Brecka. And he's I think he's an exercise physiologist. And he said that there is 6 miles worth of blood vessels for every pound of fat that you have on your body. So for every pound you lose, you get rid of 6 miles worth of blood vessels. So he was like, imagine if you lose 100 pounds, you've just eliminated 600 miles worth of blood vessels in your body. And he was like, if all of a sudden you lose all these blood vessels that were supplying blood to your body fat, where do you think the rest of that blood supply goes? it goes back to your head. And he was like, so this is no surprise as to why when you lose weight, you will actually start to mentally feel better. And then a light bulb went off in my head when I realized, oh shit, like, this makes perfect sense. Like, part of your lack of confidence or motivation, if you're a bigger person, it's also because you're just metabolically sick. You are physically sick, and it's weighing down on you mentally because it's weighing down on your brain because you have a lack of blood supply going to your brain. You see what I'm saying? That shit is crazy to think about it from that perspective. But that's what it also made me realize. Everything is physical. Your brain is your mind. Without your brain, you don't have a mind. So you have to learn how to take care of your whole entire body, your brain, what you feed it, the food, the programming as far as the thoughts you think, the content you consume. And wow, like, it's just so crazy to think about it from that perspective, because then you'll quickly realize that a lot of people feel like shit because you're just not in tune with your body and you haven't really maxed out on your physical health and your physical conditioning. Yeah. So I offended a lot of people about calling people losers. And I know, the delivery is harsh. And it's, a lot of people don't want to hear that. But I just have to be honest and transparent with you guys. Like, spending so much time on social media, that time could be diverted toward reading books, watching informative podcasts, challenging yourself mentally by trying to think of new ways of how to make money, going to the gym. But the problem is, most people, and this is something else I realized, a lot of people want the lifestyles of the rich and famous, but you don't want to do the work of the rich and the famous. You see what I'm saying? Like, people who are incredibly wealthy and socially connected and have tons of influence, they're not operating the same daily schedules like a normal 9-to-5 office B worker. I mean, I hope you're keeping all these live recordings, video diaries for later. This is good stuff. Actually, I'm not. I would delete my lives and shit. Their work ethic is impeccable. Exactly. Even I had to come to take ownership over the fact that, like, I could have been in a much more. I could be further ahead if I didn't procrastinate, and also if I took better care of my physical health and stopped spending so much time on social media. Like, even earlier this summer, honestly, I made the mistake of spending way too much time being on TikTok live. Like, after I get done with this walk, I'll be getting off of this shit and spend the rest of my day tackling my other big goals and stuff. But people don't realize your time is not on your side. Time is the enemy of progress. If you're not seizing, I worked with all the top 0.01% earners. People do not want that pressure at all. I'm inspired. What do you do, Saint Valentine? What do you do for a living? Oh, damn, my knee. But you're right. That the pressure of performing at that top, like, you have to have the physicality for that. Like, it's not just the education. It's also it's physically demanding. A lot of people don't realize that, like, there's a physicality to, like, success. It's a physicality and a physiology. A lot of people don't want to admit to this. It's like a marathon. Like, you have to train for that. Massage, sports therapy. I work on yachts with athletes and CEOs. Yeah, exactly. Like, they're so dialed into, like, optimizing Ken said, yeah, Gen Z wants work-life balance, but the top earners don't really want that. Yeah. And then Gen Z wants to be able to work basic ass jobs. Like, I'm seeing so many younger people, 25, 26, 27 years old, working at grocery stores and shit, working retail and working at restaurants. And then on one hand, you're working these jobs, having all this fun. Well, not fun, but you're working these jobs, you know, like, I've seen so many people, and you see this all the time. Like, it's definitely a Gen Z thing, because I'm sorry, but you're 26, 27, 28 years old. You're not, no college degree. You're not in the military. You graduated from high school. You don't have no real skills and stuff. I'm like, you're a loser. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're 30 years old working at Starbucks, barely able to make it, barely able to pay your rent. If you even paying rent, you might still be living at home. You're a loser. That is losing. Because it won't get any better than that, to be honest with you. And that's why I don't understand why a lot of people find themselves in these situations and then complain about it. And then they want to, we got to protest. We got to start a union. And I'm like, why would you even want to be working at Starbucks at the age of 30? Oh my God. Don't you want more out of life? Don't you want more? And then I hate it when I hear people say, well, that's what, maybe some people just want that. Some people don't want the extra responsibility, and some people just want to live simple lives. That's not living simple. That's not living simple. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That is not living content. They're not content. They don't want that. They're just fucking lazy. We're going to be quite honest. They're lazy. Exactly. They're lying. They complain daily. They don't want that shit. Trust me. They don't want that. Because even if you were to pay those bums $30 an hour, they're still going to find a way to complain. This is not enough. I can't afford an apartment. Motherfuckers want to work retail, fast food, and make $100 an hour as if they went off and became a motherfucking nurse practitioner or some shit. Like, man, you make fucking lattes. What you think is a skill set to put a fucking heart in the damn foam? You think it's a skill set to know how to make a motherfucking green tea matcha with an extra shot of espresso? You think it's valuable skills to know how to put my motherfucking croissant in the damn microwave and warm that bitch up and give me a side of butter? Oh, you think it's a skill set because you know how to open up a cash register and break down a 20 and hand me back some change? Oh, you think it's a skill set that you know how to go and clean up a bathroom? You sound rude. See? Here you basic. See, y'all getting offended. Getting offended. Here we go. Getting offended. And it's so childish too, because it's like, don't nobody care. Don't nobody give a fuck. I've been brainwashed by capitalism. No. I'm just calling it for what it is. And listen, you can complain all you want. This shit does not change reality. It doesn't. Like, hold on for a second, guys. Somebody said he's not even talking about, Saint said he's not talking about someone specifically. So rude. How exactly? That's what, but you see how people are automatically getting offended? It's so true. And nobody cares. And this is the other thing that you got to realize. You can complain all you want, sweetheart. You can complain all you fucking want. At the end of the day, don't nobody care. Fix my drink. Warm my damn motherfucking almond croissant up, ho. And don't burn it too much. Make sure my shit is in that damn toaster oven for no more than 2 minutes. But this we gotta understand, like, people out here complaining about capitalism, baby. This is the thing that gets me. Motherfuckers out here complaining about some shit that, quite honestly, they gonna spit in your drink now. And that's another thing. And then they want to take it out on the fact that their life decisions led them to working in retail or in fast food, and now they're mad because they feel like they're entitled to making all this money and working this job where there shouldn't be all these demands on them. But you went and applied. It's not like you were forced to go work at Starbucks or McDonald's or go work at Walmart. You needed a job because when you were in high school, you didn't take shit seriously. From the time you were in 9th grade, you had guidance counselors, teachers, maybe even some parents telling you, stay in school, work hard, get the best grades possible, graduate, apply to as many colleges as possible, go to college, get your degree. But no, you wanted to fuck around and hang out and be in class napping. You wanted to, and then okay, some people are forced, even with degrees. You must not talk about people who serve you. No, listen. They're not forced. You have a choice, sweetheart. You might be forced because of the circumstances you put yourself in. You were forced to do that because of your circumstances. And even if you have to do what you got to do because maybe the economy isn't good in your area, whatever, why sit up there and even complain about it? If you got to do what you got to do. I've had to do plenty of jobs that I did not want to do. But I did my time. And then I moved on. That's it. It is what it is. There are plenty of people who do things that they do not want to do. But to sit up here and equivocate working at Starbucks as if it's slavery or as if you're a fucking indentured servant somewhere and like, who is complaining? You're judging like your situation is everyone's. Are you a loser? I think you're a loser. Are you a loser? I think you're a loser. I'm not saying, listen, I think you all are conflating being nice and treating people with respect with also acknowledging that if you get hired to work somewhere, why complain? Like, see, this is the problem. Y'all are conflating it's almost as if you're assuming that I'm saying that. Hold on, let me read some of these comments for a second. I wonder, did people think of me like this when I worked at Burger King in high school? No, here's the thing. They don't. What I'm talking about is, if you work fast food and you're in high school or you're young, right? That's one thing. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the level of entitlement. You go to a fast food restaurant now and people want to, hello. Or they'll be like, hello, welcome to McDonald's. Like, what? Like, speak up, stand up, adjust yourself, greet me with respect, use proper diction, communicate clearly, speak into the fucking mic, and don't act like I'm bothering you. You work there. I'm just here to buy something. I'm just here to get a motherfucking Whopper and a small fry. You sitting here acting like I'm asking you to go and change out the diapers of some shitty babies. People sitting here getting mad. No facts, this girl at the bursary supply store was so rude, didn't even greet me. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody, because you mad because you got to work a job that you feel like this shouldn't be your life. This shouldn't be my life. I shouldn't have to do this. What you mean you shouldn't have to do this? You're the one who fucked up. That's the part that gets me. Like, I'm not talking about you, Ken. I'm just saying in general. You go to some of these places. You know who does this too? People who drive for Uber and Lyft, DoorDash drivers who grew up. You see them get on the app and complain that this person didn't give them a $15 tip. Or they didn't give them this big. Like, okay, I get it. It sucks. And I know this for a fact because I used to drive for Lyft years ago. But, okay, somebody didn't give me a tip. I move on. I just keep driving and do what I got to do until I make a certain amount of money, turn that app off, and take my ass home. Now, did I reach a burning point where I was over it and I didn't want to deal with people anymore? Hell yeah. But I never took it out on anybody, and I just did what I had to do. And I just eventually got to a point financially where I was able to stop doing that. And I never wanted to go back to it. But, you know, you see some, like you even see this with Amazon drivers. Literally put in the instructions, please bring XYZ package up to my back door or front, you know, whatever. They can't even do that. They don't want to do that. Fuck this, man. I don't want to feel like motherfucker. They ain't get mad when people complain that they didn't follow their instructions. It's like that's what I said. Most people are losing. Most people are losing. And now he wants to walks to lose weight. And judge assume everyone alive. What are you talking about? You must work at fast food. You must be 35. You must be 34, 35 years old, working fast food or retail. What you do for a living, ho? And then on live complaining about it. He's judging people. What do you think they're going to do? Report me? You think there's a niceness commissioner? A niceness committee? What do you mean what happened to my accounts are not banned? See, look at you. And then they want it. And then y'all like to get off on the fact that, oh, see, I knew it. He got banned for a reason. Oh, big old loser. Just losing. See, he lost his account. Ain't nobody get their accounts banned. Just losing. Loser. And that's the thing about losers. That's when I realized people who losing, they want you to lose with them. Honestly, the rich thrives off these types of people. So, right, that's what I'm saying. That's the irony behind all this. I'm really trying to wake y'all up to the reality that when you got that loser mindset, that they have won. By you having this loser mindset of complaining, you are not realizing you, like, you know, I woke up, right? And it hit me like a ton of bricks. The other day I was thinking about how I was like, what is the purpose behind getting so rich? Like, I read a story. The guy who founded Jimmy John's, he just sold his share in Jimmy John's for like $9 billion. And I was talking to my wife about how, what the fuck do you do with $9 billion in cash? What do you do with all this money? Like, literally, right? And then it hit me. When you become that incredibly wealthy, they're playing a game. Literally, guys, we are pawns in rich people's game. They are your life. You are essentially a fucking character in somebody else's video game. Like, when you get to that level of wealth, you sit back and you play people like it's like playing motherfucking The Sims. We're the pawns in their systems. Right, exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, you are literally he's super crazy and conservative, and he and the Jack Links family basically own the entire town. I mean, he's playing the game. I can't knock it. I'm gonna be honest. If I was worth about $4 or $5 billion, I'll probably be out here doing some shit that you all will find heinous, you all will find horrible and reprehensible. And guess what? I ain't breaking the law. So it is what it is. I don't give a fuck. People work hard to get where they're at so they can set their kids up, and people, right? And let me tell you, I be having freak offs daily. Right, that's what I'm saying. And that's something else. So you be seeing all these people online talk shit about Diddy and how it's so depraved and it's so this and it's so that. And I'm like, y'all don't get it. Listen, if I had that type of money and power, I would be doing some drug fuel freak offs every day too. I honestly would. I'd be doing all types of weird shit. I'm sorry. You got one life to live. Yeah. But see, the thing is, you can't say it. You can't say it aloud. No, trust me. You try it once. You go to a freak off and you get your butthole played with, and that shit tingles and it turns you on in a certain type of way. You'll be like, wow, I never felt that before. Trust me, you're going to be going to a freak off at least once a week. Exactly, SJ. That I was going to say this. The problem is with Diddy and so many other people is that they cross a line where now you're exploiting people that now is against the law. See, you got to still do things within the limits of what the law allows. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know I'm going to sound crazy saying this, but you better believe that if there was a time when there were no laws protecting the vulnerable, mainly kids and children, right? They would get away with it. I mean, is it unethical? Is it immoral? I would think so, but it's not illegal. But that's besides the point. What I'm talking about is the fact that you think you're going to get all this money and just, what you going to do? Make $9 billion and just go fishing every day? You don't have to make $9 billion to do that. You don't. It's an old nigga right now with no teeth in his mouth and a missing leg who retired from working at a meat factory somewhere outside of Tupelo, Mississippi, who's fishing right now. The day is about to end, and he's drawn in some fish. And he probably only made no more than $35,000, $40,000 every year for his life. You don't have to be a billionaire to go fishing. But this is what I'm saying though, like, you get to a certain level of wealth, oh, you're gonna play. You're gonna want to play. You're gonna realize the earth is my playground. I work for a self-made billionaire. They do not stop working, right? And my thing is, if you get to that level of wealth and you work hard, you gotta play hard. Like, they're obsessed with the game. Oh my gosh, Saint, you get it. I'm telling you, I've come to realize this shit. Like, it's all a game. They literally treat their lives like a video game. Now, granted, hey, some people are just born with having it a little bit easier. But it is what it is. Life is not fair. The universe does not give a fuck about you. There ain't no God. There ain't no divine providence. There's no magic. There's no miracles. People are born in the situation they're born in, and they figured out early on how to essentially treat life like a game and get as much money and resources and power as possible to max out on their quality of life and do whatever the fuck they want to do until they die. It's just that simple. He told me anyone can have the life he has, but most don't want to do what he's done to get it. And that's true too, because let me tell you, even I had to come to this bittersweet realization, like, it's all about pushing yourself to the outer edge and being psychopathically obsessed with success. And the thing is, you can't tell other people when they realize and they see what you've had to go through to get what you have. They're not gonna want that. And like, I'll never forget. And I kind of got a glimpse of this years ago. I remember when I first started publishing, right? I used to have all these other urban fiction authors come into my inbox, and they would be like, because I was blowing up. Now, I had no recipe. There was no magic to what I was doing, right? I literally was just writing books and running Facebook ads. That was it, right? And I was spending a lot of money on Facebook ads. I was spending anywhere between $100 to $200 a day on Facebook ads. And I used to have all these urban fiction authors come into my inbox and be like, yo, bro, man, tell me what you're doing. You're popping off. You're making a lot of money. What are you doing? And I'll be like, oh, simple. I'm just investing my book royalties into running ads. And so instead of taking the profit, I'm just reinvesting the profits back into my business by running more and more ads to grow my following. And they would be like, nah. Well, actually, the reactions were mixed. One person was like, I'll never forget. She was like, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, I think you're lying. You doing something else. What else are you doing? She was like, because I talked to such and such and such, and he said he ran ads, and it didn't work for him. And I'm like, well, that was him. And maybe he doesn't know how to run ads. Nah, you doing something else. Nah, like she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that I just simply mastered running Facebook ads and put the money into it. But she wanted to believe that it was something else, that I may have had hired a click farm or whatever, something that goes against the grain of just running with just straight up, no nonsense, conventional advice of running ads and procuring people's interests, and then from there building out your mailing list, right? She didn't want to believe that. It had to be something else. It had to be something more. And then somebody else was like, oh, well, I run Facebook ads too. How much do you spend a day? And I said, I spend about $150 to $200 a day. What? Nah, I ain't doing all that. Fuck that. I'm just going to spend my little $10 a day. I'm like, okay, well, and you're getting $10 worth of results. This is when I realized people, and back then I didn't have enough wisdom and insight to know that this was essentially a glimpse of a microcosm of just how a lot of people think. People want to, like, the results that you get out of life is approximate to the input that you put in, right? Like, if you want to lose weight, right, and you want to get that shit off your body as quickly as possible. I'm glad you brought this up, Sean. There's no magical secret to losing weight and keeping it off for good. It boils down to getting up every day and committing to, like, dialing in to the right diet, eating the right amount of calories, and that will put you in a deficit, and doing the right amount of activity at the right intensity every day without fail. Execute and don't complain about it. And the scale will the scale will have no other choice but to go down. But no, everybody has, oh, well, it's my metabolism, or I'm getting older, or it's this, or it's that, or I've been doing everything. And everybody swears that they've done all the right things, right? Like, you sit there, and this is where conversations like this become so difficult, because a lot of people gaslight themselves. How can you try to help people when they gaslight themselves? They're so good at deceiving themselves and telling themselves that they're doing all the right things when somebody else knows, no, you're not. No, you're not. It was a Spanish girl going viral on the app, talking about, babe, I was eating 1,000 calories every day and doing the Stairmaster for an hour, and I didn't lose a single pound in a year. Bitch, stop lying. Stop lying. You were not eating 1,000 calories a day on top of doing the Stairmaster for an hour, and you were not losing any weight. That is, and then people were in the comments, she was talking about, oh, it was metabolic damage, or she was in starvation mode. And I'm like, bitch, you have no idea what you're talking about. Pardon my language, because, calling the woman a bitch is horrible. But I was like, bitch, you don't know what you're talking about. You just, and the reality is that people do this. They just are so good at creating up these stories, conjuring up these narratives to convince themselves that they've done everything right and that there's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, insulin, it's my insulin levels, or it's, they just got so many. I love when people say, I hardly eat, yet can I lose weight? And this is why I quit being a personal trainer. It was exhausting. Yeah, I can imagine, because, like, when it comes to dealing with, like, losing weight, 90% of it is psychological. And it's not because you got to, like, engage in all these little mental exercises to convince you to do X, Y, and Z. But it's more so developing the self-awareness to know that you're low-key full of shit. Well, not low key, high key full of shit. Because the reality is, you got big, I got big, for one reason and one reason alone. You became less active and you eat more. Your portion sizes got bigger, or you were just eating more calories per density. It's just that simple. But people do not want to believe this, because by saying that, one thing I realized, especially with us bigger people, right? We don't like to take accountability for the fact that some of us just naturally have bigger appetites than others. Like, I was even telling my wife this the other day. I'm like I started to realize, like, shit, my portion sizes, sometimes I'll go, we get something to eat out, right? And like, I wouldn't just get like if we would go to a restaurant, right? Not a restaurant, but like you go to like McDonald's. Not McDonald's, because I wouldn't eat McDonald's. I'm talking about like Culver's, or like just a fast food restaurant to get a hamburger. I don't get the single patty, you get a double patty. You don't get a small fry or a small cheese curds or whatever. You get medium or large. Then you got to have something sweet to go with it, a milkshake or whatever. Like, you add on all these additional calories, and then you just quickly justify it in your head. Well, that's only about 1,500 calories, you know? No. But people do this. People feel like, well, it's my cheat day, so I'm going to go and get whatever I want to eat and do this and do that. And it's like, no. But men do eat more than women, like large portions. Yeah, exactly. Right. But even the restaurants, they kind of low-key encourage you to do this. Oh, do you want the meal instead of the sandwich? You know, and so you end up, oh yeah, let me go ahead and get the meal. Can I upgrade that to a large? Let me get a large drink, large fry. And also, let me get a milkshake. And that sounds, on one hand, some people in the comments might be like, oh, well, that does sound like a lot. But this is what people do every day. And then you try to explain to somebody, well, you know, you just ate 2,000 calories, right? They're like, no, yes, no, I don't believe that. Yes, you ate a double cheeseburger with bacon. That's about 900 calories. Then you ate cheese curds and you got the large. That's about another 600 calories. Then you got a large drink. That's about 300 to 400 calories. And then you got a milkshake, which if you got like a regular sized milkshake, that's another 1,000 calories. But people don't want to believe that. And then even when people go and they start cooking their own food, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of oil. You don't even bother to measure everything out. You just sprinkle that oil on there, put oil in the pan to cook with. Like, it's all these little daily habits that compound that essentially reinforces bad eating habits. But the thing is, a lot of people just don't want to come to this level of self-awareness because, again, it's externalizing the problem and not taking ownership and accountability and saying, you know what, I've been eating too much. My portion sizes are just too big. It's just that simple, really. Is you're just eating way too many calories. It was a guy, it was a server. He made a video about this on TikTok where he said that, like, he was like, guys, listen, I work in a restaurant. I am here to tell you, I've seen it firsthand. He was like, most people who are big, that when he was like, without fail, if you ever work in a restaurant, he was like, you will notice the people who are big always end up ordering more than half or double the amount of food that a normal sized person would order. And he's not lying when he says that. Like, this is what people do. Like, people, you got to have an appetizer. And they're eating the bread. And then, like, people do this. People do this. telling you, like, and then they get mad when you call them out on this. But here's the thing, and I want to say this. Okay? A lot of people make this way more complicated than what it needs to be. And by making it complicated, what I mean is, once you find something that works, and when I say it works, meaning that you're doing something with reason and it's balanced, and you're not pushing your body into these extremes, right? But just eating, like, because you don't even have to go on no extreme diet. You don't have to do carnivore or animal. Like, this is Hispanic dude going viral. And he makes some of the most bullshit content that I've ever seen, because I'm like, dude, you don't have to do all that. Like, oh, well, I lost 80 pounds eating an animal-based diet. And he's sitting there cooking steak and bananas and honey and all. I'm like, why are you eating like Tarzan? Like, this is not, and then how do we even know you're eating this? Like, you're such a liar. He has the face of a liar too. You know, sometimes you can tell when people have the faces of liars. Like the way their mouth moves. They try to sound so convincing, but you know deep down inside he's just a fucking liar. Like, he just has the face of a liar. It seems like envy. Envy against who? I'm not envious of him. His body don't even look good. I don't envy him. And I sure don't envy his cholesterol levels eating fucking steak every day. Then he douses everything in butter. I'm like, this guy's an idiot. I'm like, that's another thing too. People just be making, I'm like, this is why I said TikTok, social media in general, is so garbage. And most people are losers. You can't even follow just basic scientific evidence-based protocols that have been around for like forever. No, you gotta make up some shit, and then you see a video go viral and you want to follow this dude's diet. I'm like, oh my God, these people are such idiots. Yeah, it's brain rot. Exactly. Like, who's even going to go out and just cook up steak every day? And then you can't even, and here's how you know people be lying. You can't even accurately count the calories in steaks and ribeyes and New York strip steaks and shit. Because the cuts vary in fattiness from piece to piece. You don't know exactly how many grams of fat or protein you're getting in a 12-ounce ribeye steak. And then when those diets stop working for people, then they start blaming other things. Oh, well, it's my cortisol is too high. My cortisol, my insulin, or it's this or it's that. It's like, yeah, I know you're eating too many calories. It's just that simple. I'm like, gosh, these people are so stupid. But that being that anti-scientific and not listening to the evidence, and then just always, like, you know what losers do? Losers don't listen to experts. Losers always defer to random ass people on social media who barely made it out of barely made it out of high school. That's why I hate TikTok sometimes. People just spew false information. Exactly. And then people just be soaking that shit up. You're losing. You are losing. Just following trends and shit. To be honest with you, following trends, that is loserish. All you're doing is just helping somebody else make money. Helping somebody else go viral. Helping somebody else get monetized. Helping somebody else sell products, services. But hey, the U.S., actually not the U.S., the global economy survives off of loserdom. This is why I say life is a zero-sum game. And repeating these dumbass hot takes is wild. Yeah. No authenticity, no originality. People just be saying the same shit that everybody else is saying. People like gimmicks and quick fixes. Oh, they do. Yeah, they do. And I used to be that way years ago, too. So that's how I know I can't even knock it. That's why I say it's loserdom. I'm telling you. Losers get all their information from social media. You should hear what people say and go and fact check it. Cross-reference it with what experts are saying. I don't want to be a loser. How to not be? Easy. I'm going to tell you the fastest way how not to be a loser. First of all, get educated, read, and know the type of material you're reading and who you're reading it from. Like, it's also, let me tell you, one of the biggest scams. People brandish credentials, and then you come to find out this person, yeah, they got a PhD, but a PhD in what and from where? What do they really know? Is this person really an expert, or are they masquerading as an expert and they're really a fraud? Like, why would you take advice from somebody about a diet where it's high in red meat and saturated fat, and this person is telling you LDL cholesterol is not bad for you, saturated fat is not bad for you, and this person is a doctor, and then come to find out this person is like a damn OBGYN by trade, or a psychiatrist, not a cardiologist, not a lipidologist, a motherfucking OBGYN. You listening to a coochie doctor about heart health. That is loserdom. That's loserdom. You're getting self-help advice from somebody who literally inherited their money from their parents. Somebody even said this best. Like, even when you talk about like Elon Musk, that he's an unintelligent person's perception of what they think a smart person is. I don't even think Elon Musk's own father likes him. I was watching a podcast interview with him, and the vibe that I get from his father is that like he probably respects his son, and they probably get along or whatever. But I think deep down inside, watching that podcast interview, I'm like, this man clearly knows that his son is a con artist and a fraudster, and that he's fake as fuck. But he just lets him do his thing. But yeah, no, like, this shit, people out here, shit is loserdom. Well, guys, like I said, as promised, I'm almost done with my walk. So once I get back to my office, hop in my car, get back home, and then that'll be it. But in conclusion, what I'm going to say is, man, you either winning or losing every day. You either winning or losing. And I'm tired of losing. I'm ready to win. I want to win. I know you all want to win too. You just got to stop doing loser shit. For real. And it's not going to be easy. Listen, I want to make something very clear. If it was easy to win, then everybody will be doing it. And then there will be no concept of winners and losers, because we'd all have the same shit. See, one thing that I've come to realize and I've come to embrace is that not everybody is going to have a lot of shit. Money, health, resources. beauty, attractiveness. Like, there are gonna be people at the top, people in the middle, people at the bottom. And there will never be any type of equality, egalitarianism. Like, you gotta embrace that. You gotta embrace that. You gotta do everything. If you don't want to be at the bottom, you gotta do everything in your power to not be in the bottom. And you gotta be ruthless about it too. You gotta win the race. Yeah. And don't let nobody tell you, oh, well, that's doing too much. It's a depressing reality, but it's true. Yeah, I mean, listen. Hey, let me tell you something. 90% of life, to some extent, is depressing, because you got to realize we were really acculturated on a base of lies and fake narratives. That's why everything is falling apart now, because everybody is slowly coming to the realization you've been fed lies all your life. Literally, you've been in the Matrix. Literally. In the Matrix. I'm telling you. And the faster you wake up to this, the better off you will be in life. And let me tell you something else that I've come to realize. Like I was just walking, literally, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. And you might say, oh, you're judging, da-da-da-da. I just passed a lady. Lit up a cigarette. Big lady, too. That's losing. That is losing. Every day, all these little tiny habits that you have are either putting you in alignment to longevity and wealth, or it's just accelerating your path to death. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out here, they just don't think about this shit. Because they think, oh, tomorrow, eventually I'll stop. Oh, I just love these cigarettes, but eventually I'll stop. But what if tomorrow you wake up, chest tight, you don't know what's going on, you can barely breathe, you go to the hospital, find out you got stage 4 lung cancer. And it's incurable. What you gonna do then? Nothing. Other than have to sign up for hospice and die. Straight up. Somebody right now in their deathbed, your age. Think about this for a second now. There's somebody out there right now, your age, 35, 36, 25, 28, 50, 41, 42. Somebody right now in a bed, hooked up to a multiplicity of IVs. Drugs being pumped into them. All types of IVs and shit pumped into them. And they're on their last. It's the last day. Today's the last day of their life. Next week might be the last week of their life. Somebody out there right now. And they're probably litigating through all the bad decisions they made and what they could have done differently. Should have never started smoking cigarettes. Should have never started drinking alcohol. Should have never messed around and ate that girl's booty. Should have never messed around and been in the streets. When they laugh, yeah, it's sad. It is. But hey, guess what? Life moves on. The world will not stop. And that's something else too. You want to hear something very sobering? Did I ever have vices? Yeah, I got vices now. But that's another thing about life. You got to learn how to get rid of that shit and move beyond. Unfortunately, genetics plays a major role in disease and sickness. It does. But there are a lot of things that we do lifestyle-wise that doesn't help. Like smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. I mean, lifestyle plays a huge role in a lot of shit. It does. And when I say lifestyle, I'm not even saying as far as like the things you consume, but even the thoughts you think, the people you hang around. That's why I be trying to tell black folks sometimes, stop hanging around all these niggas. Fuck them. Man, you better get up out the ghetto. You better work on your addiction and your communication skills. Change up your attire. And you better start getting around these white folks. And not all white folks either. I'm talking about a certain type of white folks. The right folks. But everybody want to be, oh, well, that's not fair. Oh, that's not fair. I can't hear when I hear people say that shit now. Oh, that's not fair, though. It's not fair. Shut the fuck up. Nothing is fair. Nothing will never be fair. The faster you understand this, the better off you'll be in life. Nothing will never be fair. It's always going to be some bullshit you're going to have to deal with. And that's when you got to develop the mental toughness and the grit to keep trucking on. Even when shit is not going your way, you got to keep moving. Like right now, Spotify sent me an email a couple of days ago. Oh, we're taking your books out of discoverability because of the sexual content, whatever. And I was mad at first, but now I ain't got no other choice but to move the fuck on, stop complaining, just put other books out there, keep it moving. Am I dead? Am I alive? Am I still making money? Yeah. But it's not fair. It's not fair. I didn't break the rules. Okay, but after you fight it, you've done all you could do. What's the point of complaining? They're not going to change their mind. It's their platform. You got to do what you got to do. You got to keep moving. You got to adapt or die. So I've come to realize in life, some things after a while, once you if you really want to play the game and survive, you got to realize some things you can't just appeal. Yeah, but guess what? There was no appeals process. Literally. There were no appeals process. It wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm still trying to fight it. But I ain't losing sleep over it because I realize at the end of the day, I still got to do what I got to do. I got to do what I got to do, man. I'm going to sit here and cry. Oh, it's fucked up, man. They always trying to hold a black man down. That shit ain't going to do shit. That type of complaining isn't going to do anything for you. That's why even sometimes I'm talking to black men. I was talking about this last night on live. Like, a lot of black men, we have loser mentalities. We're always complaining about white people and how unfair things are. And you really think they don't? You really think they don't? You really think they give a fuck? Nope. I learned a long time ago that white people do not have to. They don't owe us anything. They don't have to do shit for us. But see, that's the other wrong mindset too. You want to win? Stop. I know I'm gonna sound crazy. Saying this, but at a certain point, you got to stop seeing. I think that is something that I used to be so obsessed with it, and then I realized, no, that shit is holding me back. You gotta stop seeing race. You gotta stop seeing race. A lot of people are like, no, that's crazy. That is such a horrible take. You're an Uncle Tom. You're a coon. You can call me a coon, Uncle Tom. Hold on for a second, guys. You can call me an Uncle Tom, coon, all you want. That ain't gonna change shit. It won't. It really won't. It won't change shit. It won't. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. It won't change shit. So I've come to realize it's a game you gotta play. And when you're a black man living in America, you gotta play the white man's game. Ain't no use in complaining about that shit. I know they were so mad in the comments. I know. Last night, get off the bench and play exactly. They were so mad too. I mean, and that's when I said sometimes, you know what? Just stop talking about this shit. Just stop talking about this shit. That people they don't want to, they can't. What I was talking about is the fact that, like, well, the conversation first started with me. I had did some reading last night, and I didn't realize the full extent of how Africans were involved in the transatlantic slave trade, right? And then, oh, hey, what's up? What's up? They said, no, don't. But a lot of people, they don't want to hear this shit. They don't want to hear it. But what I was literally getting at is that, ooh, I had a lot of black men in the comments that were, they felt like, oh, well, the Jews got reparations, and we're owed something, and we're still dealing with oppression today. I'm like, nigga, how are you still oppressed? How are you in 2024? How are you still dealing with oppression and structural racism? Like, they were just pulling all types of shit out their ass, and I'm like, nigga, you could literally go and do whatever the fuck you want to do living in America. Literally, there's nobody stopping you from doing anything. There really isn't. You go to college, just about any college you want to, go get a job. Like, they were really, like, and then and I'm like, it's one thing to acknowledge racial bias, because does that still exist? Yes. Do people have their biases? Yes, but there's no laws on the books in any city, state, even at the federal level, that he said food stamps for welfare was our reparations. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I wanted to say that last night, but I knew it was going to piss people off. But yeah, I don't think black people realize the amount of money the government has pumped into black America. Hundreds of billions of dollars. And, people, oh, well, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's enough. When you've done that over the course of 40, 50, 60 years, at what point is it going to be ever enough? And now what I was referring to is the pervasiveness of criminal culture in the black community. A lot of black people, especially black men, literally worship criminals and drug dealers. And a lot of black people, they don't want to hear this shit. And when you have these conversations, you get called a coon, Uncle Tom, a sellout, or you're a Republican, you're a Trump supporter. And truth be told, I can't even have this conversation, because then they're going to be like, oh, well, who are you to judge? Look at the types of books you write. You write them hood. I know Quan Millz, the man who wrote Pass Eat Pussy Too, and Old Thought Next Door don't got something to say about. But and you see, when people start talking like that and thinking like that, you're losers. Losers. Because they don't even have the wherewithal to even differentiate somebody writing works of fiction, right? Actual books, stories, versus literally gang members and drug dealers who are given a platform to essentially make music that celebrates violence, death that is actually occurring. Like, you got rappers literally making music, then consequently getting paid to continuously make music in which they brag about killing people. Yeah, it's not really enough money considering the 400 plus years of slavery, but you're right about the same thing. Why? You don't need no damn money for something that happened 400 years ago. You gonna literally sit up here and tell me that you still need to be compensated for the actions that a small group of white people did from 400 years ago? That has no bearing on your life today. How? Please explain to me how the legacy of slavery has had an impact on the life that you have right here, right now. Explain that to me, and explain that to me and how that's fundamentally different from whites who came to America in the early 20th century. Because I think a lot of black people don't realize that a lot of most white wealth that exists today was not largely generated until after World War II. Where did all the wealth created from slavery go? You don't believe it or not, and I didn't know this either. This is what made me change my mind about reparations. A lot of white people, literally, after the end of slavery, World War, after the end of slavery and the Civil War, there were a lot of these white slave owners. They literally lost their wealth. I mean, their plantations became less and less profitable because there was mass industrialization. There was already a shifting in the economy towards factories and plants in the mid to late 1800s. The economy was already moving towards industrialization, and many of them became drunks. Like they literally drank their wealth up, and they would just like they literally were losing it. They literally were losing it, and that this is partly one of the reasons why after slavery and the period of Reconstruction that many of these white landowners in the Deep South began to grow deep resentments against blacks because they saw that a lot of these newly free blacks were developing towns and cities, and they had all the skills. They were carpenters, masons. They literally were building their own cities and towns, and many of them resented that. And so as a result, they started to politically mobilize around trying to thwart this new black progress, which is why the era of Jim Crow got ushered in. But when you start reading about how the fact that like even like a lot of white immigrants they came to this country, they did not have it easy. They did not have it easy. They did not have it easy. Italians, Jews, Irish people. I think the Irish were literally slaves in the United Kingdom. Like a lot of black people want to act like it's just you answer your own question. How does slavery affect us today? Um, I mean, how you even talk about how Cubans built their wealth in Miami to run that city? Exactly. I mean, like you literally have had scores of people who've come to America with nothing, not a single dime or dollar, and dealt with a large amount of societal discrimination, and they somehow or another managed to make it work for themselves. I even remember it was even a thing. They destroyed our towns. I mean, I'm not saying that did not happen, but here's the thing. I'm talking about today, though. You in 2024, you cannot sit up here and honestly tell me. Which, by the way, many of these descendants of different race riots, in some shape, form, or fashion, were compensated by. I think, like, didn't the descendants of Rosewood didn't they get reparations? Yeah, they were given reparations. So technically speaking, some black people did get reparations for race riots that happened back in the early 1900s and shit. Listen, I'm not trying to be so dismissive of race and racism, and I'm not saying that there's not a legacy of racism and stuff. But what I'm referring to is it's this perpetual need for black people to constantly blame white people for all of their problems. It's like they can go on and then what's the point of even doing that when white people don't even care? They're not going there. You really think at this, like, I can't believe we're even still having this debate in 2024. Like, at this point, guys, listen, the white man is not going to give us reparations. We might as well move on. You got to move on. They are not going. You really think after this last election we just went through, it's like an overweight person blaming the food industry? At some point you have to fix yourself. Exactly. Right. Like, sure, is there a plethora of like unhealthy, toxic food out there? Yeah. But you don't have to eat it. You can always, like, and that's something else too. Like, I think it's even disrespectful, to be honest with you, to even fix it in your mouth, to think that the quality of life that you have today as a black American is not that much different than a black person who lived in the 1940s or 50s. Like, come on now. Stop that. Y'all know that's wrong. You know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. You know that if you got a, my grandmother is 94 years old. She was born in 1931. It would be so insane and disrespectful for me to go to her and say, Grandma, you know what? My life that I'm living right now is just as hard as the life you lived, despite the fact that you grew up on a sharecropping plantation in the middle of Georgia, and that when you were 40, we're like, come on, stop that. That's ridiculous. That is so nonsensical. It's not even funny. Right? It would be insane. As exactly. It would be insane. Can you imagine? My grandmother is literally still alive. She lives in Fort Pierce, Florida. It would be odd for me to call her up right now and say, "Hey, you know what, Grandma? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but ain't things changed? My life." She gonna be like, "Boy, what in the hell are you talking about?" She would be like, "You really think you got it just as bad as you and your grandfather? You think that you got your life is as bad as what your grandfather and I had to go through?" I couldn't even fix my brain to even come up with that thought because I know it's not true. I'm glad that I'm alive in America in this day and time, baby. I'm glad we even live in a society that was brave enough to even confront the realities of racism. You know, there are other countries out there that literally are still there's full-fledged slavery in the Middle East and parts of Asia. Full-fledged slavery. People literally getting kidnapped and enslaved and forced to work as slaves in households of rich Arabs and parts of like North Africa and the Gulf. They get raped, then they get accused of a crime they didn't commit and then end up in prison. Mm-mm. Got me fucked up. If you think I'm gonna sit up here and think that my life here in America, living in the third largest city in the United States, no. And all the problems that I see, even here in Chicago, all the nigga problems I see, that is black people creating that shit. That is black folks not taking accountability. And literally, we have a culture rooted in very serious pathologies that nobody wants to actually address. And let me tell you, even older black people told us a long time ago. They even warned us about rap music. They literally said it out their own mouths that rap music is horrible. And we did not listen to them. It was even older black people themselves said that rap music is going to be the bane of black existence. And nobody listened. People were like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a coon. You're Uncle Tom. You're a sellout. It's crazy. But this is why I said, I'm telling you, no, shit. A lot of black culture is loserdom. It is. That's why I'm like, rap pisses me off. Yeah, it should be pissing me off too. I listen to it. I'm like, first of all, what the fuck are you all even talking about? What are you even talking about? I can't even understand half of that gibberish. Rap is not music. There's no real talent. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of niggas just yapping off, talking about they gonna kill each other, kill this, kill that. They put down the conscious rap music and made them change to the deleting music. There was conscious rap, and don't get me wrong, there was an attempt on the part of record labels to commercialize gangster rap. But I'm telling you, even back then, you got to understand something. Those gangster rappers, like Howard Shamar rapper now, and that's something else. I didn't want to say it, but the fact that our culture, we are platforming mentally mentally handicapped people to be on stage, that shit is crazy. I think that's why female rappers getting more popular and male rappers dying down. Lovely East said low self-esteem overcompensating against confidence. What do you mean by that? We are out here literally platforming mentally mentally handicapped people. Y'all don't think that's crazy? Y'all don't think that's crazy? Lil Baby just graduated from Harvard. He did not go to Harvard. He did not go to Harvard. He got okay. Let me backtrack. He did go to Harvard, but he took. And you know you could go to Harvard too. You know that, right? I go to Stanford, Harvard. I saw that post going around. I'm like, gosh, here we go again. People just not understanding what's going on. He just took some classes. You can take all these certificates and courses at Harvard. Anybody could do that shit. Trust me, Lil Baby did not get into Harvard. But niggas just love to run with you really no. He took I think it was like some sort of like they got all these no, he didn't pay for it. A lot of Ivy Leagues now, they're doing this thing where they have like you could take um like they'll create like these certificate programs where you pay like yeah, they're called extension schools. And you just pay like $2,000. Like I was gonna sign up for one to be honest with you for nutrition at Stanford. They got all these schools where you could just pay $2,000, and yeah, technically you did it from like Harvard or Yale or Stanford or whatever, but you didn't actually get into the actual school. Like you're not getting a degree, you're just getting some sort of certificate saying that you actually took this set of classes from this college or university. It's bullshit. You're not getting an actual degree. Lil Baby is not getting into Harvard Business School without having to first have an actual degree, undergraduate degree. And then you got to take the GMAT, letters of recommendation. Got to have work experience, MBA to get into an MBA program. And those MBA programs at Yale, Harvard, Stanford, highly competitive. It would be an uproar if a rapper paid his way into one of those programs without having to go through the same process that everybody else had to go through. Here we go. Somebody said, if he was, and I'm not trying to downplay what he did. I'm just acknowledging the fact that a lot of times we like to, black folks, but even that, the fact that we're running with this narrative, man, we are losing. But anyways, guys, it's getting late, and I got some shit to do. I'm gonna holler at you all later.